What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Command and Console. My name is Jason. Today we are doing Xbox Exhibition, and yeah, I've got quite a few Xbox titles to showcase. No footage from CEX, no footage from anywhere like that. I've just got the stack of games that I just want to talk about and show you what I've added to my Xbox 360 and original Xbox collection. So the first title for today's Xbox Exhibition is Devil May Cry 4. I picked this up. This was 50p in the charity shop. It's complete with manual. I really like this game. I thought it was really fun. I've not played Devil May Cry 5 yet, so I'm looking forward to delving into those, the later games as well. But I love the original Devil May Cry trilogy, and Devil May Cry 4, even though you don't play as Dante, it's still a really fun kind of character action game. Really fun. I remember this game, the graphics really blowing me away back in my day when I got this, because it was one of the first like really kind of amazing looking games I remember picking up for the Xbox 360 back in the day. But Devil May Cry 4. Next up is one of the most, I think it's really underrated and people forget it exists now, but it's one of my favourite horror games of the last 20 years, and that is Condemned: Criminal Origins. For some reason this doesn't have the tagline, but it was called Condemned: Criminal Origins. But Condemned is such a great kind of like detective-esque horror game that really goes hard with the horror. It's got a great story to it. The melee combat is visceral and brutal. It absolutely shit me up when I had this game back in the day. I was really happy about this because they had 1 and 2 for this as well for 360, and this one in particular, number one, is backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X, so I always can just chuck it in my new system and actually play it. The disc is in good condition, and yeah, one of the best horror games in the last 20 years in my opinion. I love it. Like I said, the combat is fantastic. The scares are where you want them to be. They actually is creepy. It does scare you from time to time. And yeah, it still holds up now. It's really fun. That's Condemned. Following the horror theme and the Condemned franchise, Condemned 2. I know that this game isn't really seen as very good in people that are big fans of the first game, but I really thought this was a decent sequel. Is it up to the level of the first one? No. Is the story as good as the first one? No. But it still is a serviceable sequel that gives you pretty much more of the same, and I still really enjoyed it as well. Really cool game. I think it's a rare case where the sequel is as enjoyable as the first one. But yeah, also complete with manual. I remember this being one of the first games I remember actually like completing without like looking up anything back in the day. I used to look up stuff to finish games, but I remember I finished this is one of the first games I finished on 360 without actually having to look up anything, so I was really proud of that back in the day. But yeah, Condemned 2, pretty serviceable, pretty decent sequel, just it's not a patch on the original. Next up, I picked up 3 games from Vinted. They let you bundle up stuff with the same seller, and the seller will give you a discount. I found a seller on there that was selling 360 games, a pretty good selection on there, and I decided to make a little bundle because he was selling them fairly cheaply. So the first title is Call of Duty Black Ops. I know this franchise has kind of become a bit tiresome now, but I did have a lot of fun with the new one, to be fair. But that was the first time I played it in a long time. But Call of Duty Black Ops for me is just nostalgia. I just used to love Call of Duty back in the day, when around this kind of time period, Modern Warfare 2, World at War, and of course Black Ops. I remember going to a midnight what do you call it, midnight release, and getting this. I didn't go to Game, I went to Blockbuster. I remember it quite vividly, standing in line in Blockbuster at fucking midnight to get Call of Duty Black Ops. Yeah, good memories, man. The midnight releases were really a cool kind of novelty. You don't really see that very often anymore. Maybe in America you do, but over here in the UK you don't really get that much nowadays. Especially where most of the more shop fronts are kind of disappearing, unfortunately. But Call of Duty Black Ops would always be a nostalgia-ridden game for me. I have loads of fun with this. I do believe personally Call of Duty Black Ops 2 is the best in the franchise, in my opinion. But Black Ops 1 was such a good game. The multiplayer was just so much fun. It's just complete in box. The disc is in just beautiful condition, almost like it's never been played. But that's 1 out of 3 games from this job lot off of Vinted. That's Call of Duty Black Ops. The next game is almost like an upgrade because I had it on PS2 and I thought I'd get the upgrade for it on 360, and that is Hitman Blood Money. Arguably the best Hitman game in the original quadrilogy of games, or the original 5 games. I love Hitman 2. Hitman Contracts was a bit hit and miss for me, but Hitman Blood Money is where it's all at. Love it. Every mission's fun. Every way you can go about your missions is interesting and different and unique, and yeah, I just feel it's just fantastic. Hitman Absolution, the 5th game, was a bit of a major departure from the usual formula, and it focused more on a story-based progression system and more of a story focus, which I still kind of liked it, but I didn't think it had a patch on Blood Money. I have not played the more recent kind of rebooted franchise, the 3 games that came out after Absolution. I've not actually played those. Blood Money was always my favourite, and I'm looking forward to jumping back into this one on 360. Again, this is complete in box with manual, and the disc is in very, very good condition. So 2 out of 3, banging good job for this job lot. £5 or less. I think it was worked out about just over £5 for these 3 games, and I'm really happy about that. So that's Hitman Blood Money. The final game in this job lot was a game that I remember playing and having quite a good fun time with it. But it's one of those janky games that gets shit reviews when it come out. But I'm one of those people where I can forgive games for being a bit rough around the edges and a bit repetitive, as long as I'm having fun. And that game is Koei Tecmo's Quantum Theory. So when this game came out, it was automatically kind of labelled a Japanese Gears of War ripoff. You know, the outlets were saying that it's really bad and it's just trying to be Gears of War. I can understand what they mean, because you look at this guy in the front, it does almost kind of look like a Gears of War character, but you know, ultimately more stylized in its design. I feel like the game is pretty decent, all things considered. Fairly okay. Is it jank? Yeah. Is it a bit rough around the edges? Definitely. But is it the worst thing in the world? I don't think it is, and I'm really glad to get it on 360, especially in this bundle where I'm paying maybe like less than £2 a game. I can't go wrong, especially where this sells for a bit more on eBay. It goes for between, like, you know, £8 and £10 on eBay. But I'm really happy to get this one. This is the game I wanted the most out of this 3 game job lot on Vinted, so I'm really happy about getting Quantum Theory. Again, this is complete inbox, and I'm really happy about it. The disc is in, you know, not the best condition, but still playable condition. But that is Quantum Theory. Really happy about this one. Looking forward to jumping back into this. Now, I've just got an affinity for these kind of mid-tier games where they're not quite high up in the polish department. They win you over with their charm, and I think games like Quantum Theory, Two Worlds, and stuff like that, they definitely won me over with their charm for sure. That's Quantum Theory. Next up is a game that I completely forgot about. I think it's mostly been forgotten for most people. Now, I've been on a bit of a From Software kick lately. I've been looking into their back catalogue. I've been wanting to get some of their older games. Potential games were some that I loved as well, so I want to get some of those. The Armored Core games, I just picked up the Armored Core title. This game has been forgotten, and it is Ninja Blade. This came out around about the same time as Ninja Gaiden 2 for the 360, and I always saw this game sort of as a lesser game back in the day. It was very different. It was still kind of that hack and slash style, but it was very quick time event heavy, and it was more kind of I don't know how to explain it, but it just felt like a lesser game. Ninja Gaiden 2 was more fast paced, brutal, violent, and kind of excessive in its violence. So maybe my younger self was all about the piss and vinegar and violence of Ninja Gaiden 2. I found this in a charity shop for £2. So I'm really happy about getting this one. It's complete with manual as well. Really chuffed about it. The thing is, the disc isn't the best, but it's definitely going to be playable, which is always nice to see. But yeah, Ninja Blade from Software. I'm really looking forward to checking this out to see how it holds up in 2023. That's Ninja Blade. Next up, I picked up a wrestling game in a charity shop for £1. This one is WWE 12. This is basically when THQ kind of like they rebranded it from being SmackDown versus Raw to just being the boring generic "put the year in the title." A bit dull if you ask me, but it's got Randy Orton on the front cover there. I've heard this is a pretty good one. out of the yearly releases. I've heard this is a good one, so I'm looking forward to checking this one out and seeing how it holds up. When these games went over to 2K, they went a bit too simulation for my liking, a bit too more complex in the gameplay. I way prefer the more kind of arcadey style of those older SmackDown titles and the earlier SmackDown versus Raw titles. I'm hoping this retains that more kind of balanced balanced feel rather than being straight up simulation, but we'll soon find out when I give this a go at some point. But that is WWE 12, complete with manual, £1 in the charity shop. Can't go wrong with that. Next up is another sports title, and this one was 50p in a charity shop, and I thought, you know what, let's just add it to the collection because it could be a good laugh. I love my racing games. I've not really delved into F1 games that much, so I thought I'd pick up Formula 1 2011 just to see how it is. 50p, I know it's like an older title in the franchise, but why not pay 50p and try an older one and see how I feel about this franchise? It might make me want to pick up the newer ones. You never know, guys. But yeah, Formula 1 2011, complete with manual, 50p. I mean, you can't scoff at a game for 50p. Even if I don't like it, I've only lost myself 50p. It's not too bad. But yeah, the fun fact is, I used to love the F1 games back in the day. The original PS1 game, Formula 1, the original, the other Formula 1 games on PS1, those original, PS1 Formula 1 games, I adored them. I played them to death for some reason. But obviously things, you just fall out of things and stuff. Never went back to those, but I thought, you know what, I'll give this a go and see how I feel. That's Formula 1 2011. And it brings us to the final game for this video. This is the only original Xbox title I've picked up lately, and solely on the basis that it's backwards compatible with the Xbox Series X. That's the only way I'm really going to be picking up these original Xbox games, if they're backwards compatible. But I had to get this one. This is one of my favourite RPGs of all time, and it's probably the greatest Star Wars game ever made. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I thought to myself, you know what, it's £6 and I can boot it onto my new Xbox and play it. You know what, fuck it, let's do it. Why not? It's complete with manual as well. Always nice to see. It's a really beefy manual as well. The disc is in fairly okay condition. From what I know from the Xbox Series X, the disc is pretty much more like a key to play the game. It will download the game for me, so it's not really that much of a problem there for the disc being scratched, because it doesn't actually read the game from the disc. But yeah, Knights of the Old Republic, I spent so many hours back in the day absolutely pouring my life into this game. It is absolutely a marvel. It still holds up. I've got it on PC. It still holds up today. It still plays well. It still is the game I remember it being. And it's still just a bucket of fun, man. You build up your character. You got kind of a moral thing. You can go bad. You can go good. Yeah, it's awesome. And when you get those lightsabers, dual-wielded lightsabers, guys, it's fucking awesome. A lightsaber in each hand, kicking the shit out of people. It's so much fun. It's got a very entertaining turn-based combat system that I really have fun with. They kind of took that to Dragon Age, the original Dragon Age game as well, and they have a similar gameplay loop. But yeah, this is probably my favourite BioWare game, and it is probably the best Star Wars game ever made. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I really hope we get the remake, because this game is in need of a remake. Even though I did say it holds up really well, it's desperate in its it needs a UI refresh and quality of life stuff in there. But as a game, as it stands right now, it still is a timeless classic. Hell yes. So that's it, guys. Those are the games I picked up for Xbox Exhibition over the last few weeks or so. It's been a slow going for picking up stuff at the moment, but I thought let's showcase what I do have for Xbox in this video. As always, guys, let me know any and all of your opinions on these games in the comments down below. And as always, let's continue to build a games collection.